I'm Adrian. I'm the LeadSquared marketing specialist. And today we're going to focus on building landing pages. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can either type them in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay, so to get started, once we log into our LeadSquared profile, we'll come to marketing over here and then go down to landing pages. Okay, so in this screen here, as you can see, there is a whole lot of previously created landing pages. And just to give you a breakdown of what's going on here, and on this side here, we've got the name of your landing page. This is how many views, how many people viewed your page. And this is your number of submissions. And then this is the conversion rate. This is very good to track. To see how well your pages are doing once you've created them. And then you can always use that excuse me, to change it up a little bit or to compare what's working, what's not working. So it's always good just to keep an eye on what's happening in your pages here. If you're wanting to see the actual details, if you click on the name of the page here, what it does is open up a report for that page. So it shows you all the details here. And then at the bottom here, just go to all time. At the bottom here, you'll see a list of all the leads that actually filled in those details. Okay. So it's a quick overview of the landing page builder, and now we'll go into creating our own landing page. So we'll go to the top right here where it says create landing page, and we'll click it. Can you see my screen fine? In the past, I've had to zoom in a little bit to make it a bit better. Okay. So it's always good to start by giving your landing page a name. And then you can add marketing tags so that you can track where your leads have come from easier within the system. Okay, so as you can see, we have a lot of pre-built templates. You can select one of these ones and then just edit the actual content on it. Or you can go down to the bottom here and select a blank one. With the pre-built templates, it's easy to click on the images, replace the images, the content, and all the blocks. So that's a quick and easy way to do it. But today I'm going to show you how to build it from scratch. So we'll go select a blank template. Okay, so here, this is how the blank template starts. So there's a couple things. So this block and these blocks inside here are called blocks, and you can add new ones at the top here. The pencil is a text block. This is a feature block. This is a form block. That's a very important one to add to your landing pages, because if we're not collecting leads, then there's no point to the landing page. An image block, a call to action, so it's like a button, and then you can send them to your website, to your Facebook. You can insert video, and then you can also insert testimonials. So that's the blocks. And then this, if I click on this here, that highlights the whole bit, and that's a section. The sections you add in over here, and you can move them up and down as you need. And then all your settings are going to be on the right-hand side here. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this section to start. Yes. And we're going to remove this section here. Delete. Yes. Okay. Now we're left with this last block, this last section here. But as you can see, there's no blocks being added to it. So what we're going to do is insert an image to start. So click on the image block and it inserts the image block here. There's nothing in the image. So we click on it, and as you can see, it's left aligned. What we're going to do is change the size of the block. So we're going to come to the right-hand side here, and where the width is, we're just going to click that and make it full width. Then we're going to double click on the actual image, and then it brings this section here. And as you can see, now we have a couple of different options on the left-hand side here. If we want an image and then text underneath it, or text and an image, and so on. But we're going to use this first one where it's just a plain image. So we're going to double click on the right-hand side now where the image is, and we're going to insert our own image. So we're going to, this is your image gallery of any images that you've uploaded previously. So what you're going to do is upload a new one because our image isn't here that we're looking for. Upload again. Okay. So we're going to start by inserting our logo. So insert the logo. So you can insert the images one at a time as you need them. Or if you go to upload, then you can select multiple images at one time. And upload that. So they're the 3 images that we've uploaded today. So we'll start with our logo. We're going to insert that and then save. And then our logo is placed in our block. So we're going to, first thing we're going to do is change the minimum height. Because as you can see, our logo ends there and our block ends there, which is going to affect the spacing. So we're going to go to the minimum height and just put it to 0. And then it will just tidy that up. And we do that with the section as well. And now because your image is going to be right at the top of the page, in the bottom of the page, if we click on our sections here, we've got this margins and padding. So we can add a margin at the top of say 20, which will just move it down a little bit. And then when we want to add, once we add a new section, as you can see, it's really tight on the image, which is going to make it look won't look so great. We're going to add the bottom margin here again at 20, and it just gives it a little bit of space. If you click on, not on any of the sections, you can give that a background color on the right-hand side here. So we're going to change it from this gray. So you can click here, and then you have a choice. You can either just randomly pick it, but if you have a color code that your company uses, you can always just put it in here. Let's go and now the background color of your actual page changes. We're going to make it white today. Okay, so that's that. Now we're going to add in another image here. So we'll click on this section and click on the image. And now we're going to actually give this a background image. So this section we're going to resize so to make it full width. And we're going to go background, background type, image. And you click on the 2 little lines here, which will open up the image library. And now you can select your image. And I'll show you what to do now. So as you can see, the image is quite narrow. So when we'll click on the section, we'll go up to the top here, dimensions and spacing, and we change this to the height of our image. So we'll change it to 500, click off it, and now our image is there. Once we click on the background, you can position your image to center it. Okay, now what we're going to do is insert a headline for ourselves. So still selected this image block, and we're going to click on the text, the content block, and that will open up there. And so that we can get it nicely centered, we change the size. You can change the size on the right-hand side here, or if you go to the block here, we can go stretch, stretch, or shrink as you need it. Stretch, stretch. Okay, and then to edit it, you just double click on the content block, and now you get this text editor. Works very similar to Word. So we'll put a headline. Headline goes here. You can change the font to match your company styling. You can change the size. Make it centered. Make it 48 rather. Or make it bold. And then you can change the color. But as you can see, if you make it white, for instance, it disappears on your text editor. All you do is you, at the bottom here, edit a background, and all it does is just change the background here so you can still see what you are saying. And then we can go. And save. Again, as you can see where your block ends here, there's space at the bottom. So what we're going to do, we're going to just change this minimum height to 0 again, and it will close that up. But then because we don't want it right at the top of this image, we're going to give the top padding some space. And then when we insert our next item below it, we don't want it right against it. So we'll change the bottom one. You can change these to anything you want. You can play around and just see how the spacing works for you. So now that we've got our headlines in, what we can do is insert a form. You can then change the size of your form. Okay, then in your form, we've got a couple options to edit your form. At the top here, we've got our headline, but because we've already got our headline on our page, we don't necessarily need it. So we'll just double click on the headline and it opens up your headline block here. Here you can change the text. So you just double click it, it will open up the editor and you can change the text if you want. We're going to take it out because we don't want that, and then save. And then if you were going to use it, you can change the color, but we're going to set it to none so that it will take it out and save. And now the headline's gone. The bottom of your form, you've got a footer text. You can use this if you want. You don't have to. If you don't want to, double click on the footer text. Again, it brings up the block here. Highlight the text, remove it, or put your own in, and hit save. Okay. Now, if we just click on the block here, on the right-hand side, we can go to the background and we can change the color. So you can change it to be a bit more opaque by moving the slider down here. You can change the color if you want. We're not going to have a background color for our form. So we're going to do that. So that is how our form's looking. at the moment. And what we're going to do is double click on one of the text fields where you can insert, and double click it, and it will actually bring up your form editor. So here we're going to change the label placement, because without having a background, it's quite difficult to see on our background. So we're going to change that to inside, so that the title of the field will go inside. On the right hand side here, you can set it to mandatory if you want. Simple click there. If you're wanting to add more fields, it's on the left hand side here, we can do a quick search for, say, a last name. And click the plus sign, and it adds it here. If you click on the arrow tool here, you can click and drag it and move it to the positions you want. And these are all your lead fields that are already in your system. If you decide that there's something that's not here, okay. So once we've got our fields that we're happy with here, we click on the button, and now we can style the button. And on the right hand side, again, we can just change our colors to match our company profile and the colors that we use for all our business stuff. Can change the alignment of the button. We can change the fonts again. If you want it bold, you can make it a plain opposed to a gradiented one. We'll leave it there. Text color, so you can change that all in here. You can change the font size of your actual details in here. The field properties, how big you want your block will be this height here. So if we change it to 25, just makes the blocks themselves a little bit smaller. The color, background color, and all of this. So the forms are completely customizable and tailored to what you would like. And then we click save, and our form is now added here. What's really good to do is to constantly preview your form while you're building it. So we'll click here, and then you've got 3 options. You can preview it on desktop, preview it on a tablet, preview it on a mobile. So to start, we'll preview it on desktop. Let me just share the block that opened. Okay, so this block is the one that will now pop up. And as you can see what the landing page will look like in the thing. I can see that there's a frame around my form that I don't want. So we close this block and share that previous screen again. Okay, so we're going to click on the form on the right hand side here, because it's the actual outside of the form styling. So we'll go to the border here and we'll change it to none. That will remove it, and we're going to preview it on mobile this time. Share that screen. Okay, so this is how your form is going to look on mobile. Once you're happy with that, we close that. Okay, now you probably see everything I'm doing without me having to change. Okay, so if you go preview again, as you can see, a new block pops up, and your form is now styled and everything the way you want it. So we're happy with this. Now we're going to add in a new section, and again, it's right against the end here, so we'll click on the section above it, and we'll give the bottom a margin of 20, just to give that some space there. And now we click on this section and we'll add in a testimonial, for instance. And so you click on the testimonial block, it adds it here. Again, we can change the sizing of it. And we double click it to enter. And then down the left side here, you've got a couple different options of how you want to style your testimonial. For instance, we're going to use this one. So you're going to edit it all in this window here. So you'll click here, double click it, and it opens up your text editor. You can paste your new text in there. Name, surname, designation, all that. Just double click here. The image, you double click the image, and we can upload an image as we want it. And once we're happy with all of that, hit save. And there is your testimonial section. Then you can add more text in or more images as you please. What you can do is if we add a new section, we can add multiple images. And because we want them to be all in a row, we can just shrink that one, and shrink, 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 shrink. And now we have our 3 images in a row. We can double click on them. Go to our image gallery, insert that, save. Double click, double click. Insert that. Save. Now, before we go ahead, we're going to preview it again on desktop. Okay, we're happy with that. Everything is there, nothing's popping off. And preview it on mobile. And we're happy with that. So the next thing we're going to do is click save. Is everyone good with that? Everyone following? Yeah, sure. There's just the 3 of us here, so if you want to talk, you can talk. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, Adrian.
Hi.
How would landing pages work in the real estate industry?
They would work brilliantly if you're wanting to, say, do a show day. You put some
show days because we don't do show days.
Okay. If you are, is this for, like, say, a rental or a sale?
A rental or a sale?
Okay. Well, what you can do is you'll take the photos of your property and your description and all of that, and you build out your landing page. Then once we get to some further steps down, I'll show you where now. Once we get there, you get to a URL for your landing page. And then what you can do is you can copy that URL and then paste it onto your Facebook or share it in an email, driving people to your landing page that would be focused on that property. So if the people are interested, they can fill their details in on the form here, and then you'll get a direct lead, and then you know that that lead comes from this landing page and they're interested in that specific property. So it's actually a really good, very targeted way to promote your properties.
So if we want to sell a specific property, we can use it.
Yes, you can do it for specific properties, or you could use it to showcase a couple of your properties, because on your, say, company website or on the actual property portals, there's a whole lot of properties. But if you set this up for specifically your properties, you could have your 3 or 4 different properties that you have with your form, and then you could either number them on the page, property 1, 2, 3, or however you want to name them. And then you could perhaps have a drop down in your form here with those 4 properties. So when somebody submits, you know exactly which one they're interested in. Or if you say doing a specific area, then you know anyone that submits from this landing page is interested in this area or in those specific properties. Then when you call them back, so they've really shown interest in your properties. So it's a great tool for real estate agents.
Thank you.
Okay. So now that once we've finished and we're happy with our landing page, we've hit saved. We're not going to go publish it yet. We're going to go next, because there's a whole lot of other steps that we're going to use. Okay. So this next one is what happens is the action section. And now you're going to specify what happens once the person fills in the form. So the first thing you get is this thank you message here. And if you leave it on this one here, it's going to pop up a little message saying, thank you for your interest. You can customize this to your specific needs. So it will say a little message above the form, thank you for your interest. You can also do, instead of doing it that way, you can click on this pop-up. So now once the form is filled in, a little message will pop up on the screen saying thank you for your message or your interest, and again, you can customize this message here. The other option is to do a redirect. So in the redirect here, if you want them to say go to your Facebook page or your website, once they've filled in the form, all you do here is you copy your website address. So if we went here to say LeadSquared, so we can copy the address there and then paste it in there. And that will, once you filled in the form, it will immediately take you to the website. And the third option we have is to do a download. If you've, say, got a brochure for the property that you're selling, once they've filled in the details, you can have a download document. So then what you do, you'll click on this download document here, select your image, you'll select your brochure. Here's your, so we've got a brochure in here. We can either click this one, but if you don't see this, and this is all stuff that you've uploaded to LeadSquared. If you don't see it here, you can always just upload it and then save it that way. So, but today we're going to just do a redirect. So we're going to redirect them to the thank you page, which is on our website. Again, that's just a URL that you can copy and paste from your website or wherever you want them to go there. Then you can send them an automatic response, and you just click here. So the response, so you can set it up for yourself, or if you say setting it up for other agents in your company, you just click on the drop down and you find the agent that you would like it to come from. Subject line, and then again here we can put our message in. The great thing about LeadSquared is we have our merge tags, which is here. So this will now, when it sends the email to the client, will actually pull their first name through here and the company details through here. If you want to give them an automatic response saying something like, thank you for your message, we'll be in touch with you shortly. In the meantime, maybe check out some more images or whatever, and you can just add them in here. You can also just insert some more pictures here or a link to another more information page and so on. So that's that. If you want to send yourself a message, we can click here. So this is going to send me a message because it's my landing page. Again, if you want to send it to somebody else to notify them, you just type in here the contact details, one of your users in LeadSquared, and then it will send them this message here, basically telling them that there was a new lead captured on this specific, it's merge tags again, so it will tell them on this landing page that we've created and all this information, and you can just click here, it will take them straight into LeadSquared and you can see the lead. In the next section here, we're going to do the details of the lead. So we can assign the lead to ourselves or to another user. We can add it to a list if we want. So you can add it to one of these lists here, or you can create a new list. So we'll say create a new one. Okay, we can assign a score to the lead, and then again we can add tags if we want to. We'll click the create a new lead for each submission and save. And then the next one we're going to go next. Okay, so here's your page title, which goes in here, which is this little bit of text that you'll see at the top here on the tabs, and then it will be the text on Google if you had to search for it. So over here we've got the URL, so this will be our full URL here, so we can keep this nice and descriptive, nice and easy, so that people can see what where they're going. The meta words and meta description are all things that will help Google index that page. If you're wanting to do that, you can get the information and all of that from your marketing guys that will do that. And you can just type them in here as you need. If you don't want Google to index or to search for their site at all, just untick this one here, and then they won't do that. And then this last block here is where if you guys are using Google Analytics or any other tracking scripts, you can put your tracking codes in here. Again, you can get that from your marketing IT department, and then you'll be able to track the behavior in your Google Analytics on the web on this page. So once we're happy with our URL, which is very important, and the name, we click save again. And then next. So here is a summary of the page we've just built. That's the actions, the SEO. So you can do a quick check, happy with that, publish, and then publish again. Okay, so here is the URL. If we copy this, and we paste it into the text, into the chat, so we can now use this to share on emails and all of that on our social media, LinkedIn, Facebook. So we're going to go to our list. So if we take that URL and actually paste it into the browser, we get our page here. So we shall fill this in and go. Okay, and then submit. It will now automatically redirect us to our thank you page, because that's what we set it up to do. Thinking. Why is it taking so long? It doesn't normally take this long. There we go. Okay, so timed out. Try this again. I'm not sure why it's doing this. There's an error, possibly my connection. Okay, let's try this again. So you can always get your URL again if you go here and go to get landing page URL. We'll bring it up here. We can always now go. And then it will automatically pull through your leads if it was working. Typical. No, here it is. So I'm not sure why it's doing that. But if we go here to the lead now that's been created, and we open it up, as you can see, you've got all the details here. They filled in, they went to this page, they submitted the form, And now you've got all the lead details. Okay, so do you guys have any questions? I hope this was informative. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. If you have any other questions, feel free to mail me. It's adrian@leadsquared.co.za. And otherwise, I'll be sending you guys the link to this webinar. And yeah, thank you for joining me. Have a good day.